Future technology flying car. Is the era of flying cars nearing? Will we definitely be able to ride in those flying cars? What does the future say? All these questions await an answer. So, are you ready for what is yet to come in this era of technology? If yes, then Future Technology is here for you to give a clear look at everything, so stay tuned to this video till the end. The first public test flight of Xpeng's new flying automobile in Dubai failed miserably. Chinese executives welcomed it as a showcase of cutting-edge technology that will alter transportation at its core. Local dignitaries praised it as an indication of the Middle Eastern city's forward-thinking attitude. The Xpeng 2 multi-copter test flight, on the other hand, was a flop. The plane did fly, but it didn't do much else. The Electric Vertical Takeoff and Landing, or eVTOL vehicle, took off from the ground, flew straight up, and then hovered for a short period of time. The gathering press corps stood there watching it set against the Dubai cityscape, pop music blasting from speakers as if trying to drown out the deafening buzz of the 8 propellers. The plane then dropped and landed quietly on the grass, turning off its engine. One reporter turned around, shook her head, and inquired, "Is that it?" Yes, it was. There was no whirling around in the air like in the promotional videos displayed before the test flight. Aerial acrobatics are not permitted. There's no getting from point A to point B. Simply up, hold, and down. While the Dubai Civil Aviation Authority and other YouTubers praised the Xpeng 2 for its stability and seeming intrinsic potential of revolutionizing transportation, the fact that the vehicle just went up and then straight down does not invalidate the fact that it went up and then straight down. The verdict was part of a media tour organized by Dubai's Department of Economy and Tourism to attend the event. In some ways, the test flight underlined the disappointing performance of eVTOLs thus far. Despite billions of dollars invested in the business in recent years and over a century of invention, real-world flying cars for common usage have yet to take flight. In the past, technological and legislative constraints prohibited them from becoming a reality. Those difficulties have not vanished. Instead, they are still firmly anchored to the ground by the aspirations of common air taxis. This hasn't stopped companies all around the world from publishing enthusiastic missives saying that the future is near. Aerial automobile fantasies have existed for over a century. In his novel Master of the World in 1904, Jules Verne invented the Terror, a car, plane, speedboat, submarine hybrid. Similar developments have proliferated in pop culture since then. Flying automobiles have appeared in everything from the Jetsons to Westworld, implying that the real-life equivalents are just around the corner. According to Back to the Future, we're roughly 7 years overdue for flying automobiles, says James Jackson, CEO of car repair payback platform Bumper. Even longer than that, innovators have worked to make those ideals a reality. Amateur historians are liking of pointing out that businesses have been attempting to fly carriages for 2 centuries. The world's first flying car, according to legend, was patented in 1842. The airborne steam carriage, a massive steam-powered behemoth designed to transport passengers, never took flight. It was just too heavy. While a subsequent version launched in 1848 was capable of flying short distances within a hangar, the developers quickly ran out of funds and were forced to discontinue the project. Since the aerial steam carriage was unable to take off, there has been no shortage of comparable projects. The Flying Flea, the Curtiss Autoplane, the Aerobile, the Convair car, and the Aerocar were all endeavors that were doomed to fail. They failed due to the constraints of their time's technology and a lack of finance. Now, a new generation of innovators is working hard to make flying automobiles a reality, with some forecasting that their efforts will pay off as soon as next year. However, the odds are stacked against them. So what else can be the future of flying cars? Several firms around the world are now working to get eVTOLs off the ground and into people's daily lives. They frequently not only made their ideas public, but also set hopeful dates for when those efforts may bear fruit. Uber, the ride-hailing giant, is one of the companies that has made extremely optimistic predictions in the past. In 2018, the taxi company predicted that its flying taxi service, Uber Elevate, will be available in 2023. Uber later doubled down on that promise in January 2020 when it announced a collaboration with Hyundai to build an aerial ride-sharing network. However, in December 2020, Uber sold its air taxi operation to the startup Joby Aviation. A year later, the CEO of a company that makes plans for how cities move around said that flying cars might be available for sale in 2024. Lilium, located near Munich, said it hoped to begin commercial flights in 2025 after completing the first phase of its test flights in 2019. While these estimates make for fantastic headlines, when confronted with the realities of the world, they tend to crash spectacularly. The truth is that the same issues that have hampered flying cars for decades also exist today. Technological limits and legal impediments make those time periods overly optimistic. Emilio Campa, a former analyst at research firm Global Data, told Verdict that NASA believes it will be approximately 10 years before the regulatory climate is ready for scaling air taxi operations, and flying cars are far from a top priority for many regulatory agencies. Given that regulators are still working out the wrinkles in driverless vehicles, turning their focus to flying cars does not appear to be a priority. Before eVTOLs enter, the mainstream flying car entrepreneurs must overcome enormous difficulties. For starters, they are limited by current technology restrictions. The same thing that anchored the airborne steam carriage to the ground holds back modern aerial vehicle firms: their weight. To be more specific, the amount of power consumed. Modern multicopters are powered by electricity, which necessitates the use of batteries. However, such batteries have a limited capacity for energy storage. Flying cars would require more or larger batteries for longer journeys. The issue is that when more batteries are added, the aircraft becomes heavier, necessitating the addition of more batteries. Overloading these vehicles poses the risk of closely packed batteries that charge or discharge quickly, overheating and catching fire unless safeguards are taken. Because of battery limits, eVTOL vehicles have a limited flying time before needing to be recharged. The Xpeng 2, for example, has only 35 minutes of flight time before needing to be recharged. Companies all across the world are working hard to develop new and better batteries, such as trying to identify new chemical compounds to replace the typical lithium-ion batteries used today, capable of holding more power. However, until that study yields results, flying automobiles are likely to remain a pipe dream. Because of these constraints, flying automobiles can only carry a limited number of passengers. Why are people so excited about flying cars? With all the industry's issues, one might question why investors have poured billions of dollars into the eVTOL industry. The response is that, despite the risks, flying cars have the potential to provide enormous advantages to society. To many, flying cars signify the advent of a new era of travel, a green and stylish answer to traffic and urban mobility. In addition to their futuristic look, flying automobiles have practical advantages that contribute to their attractiveness. With many modes of transportation available, traffic congestion may become a thing of the past, resulting in less time wasted in traffic and no more idling engines emitting unneeded CO2 into our atmosphere. Nonetheless, it appears doubtful that an eVTOL aircraft will be parked outside everyone's house in a few years. These vehicles would not be viable for daily usage since they would be incredibly expensive to run and would require separate infrastructure to take off, Matas Bouzelis, Car Vertical's communications director and an auto expert, said. Aviation maintenance is typically highly expensive. So when can we expect to see flying cars? For the time being, the answer is still unknown. That's it for today. Hey, we hope you liked our video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more informative videos just like this, and we'll see you in the next one.